Hello, welcome to Pro Mixing and Mastering. Today I'm gonna show you how an EQ works. This is gonna be one of the best videos that you are gonna watch in 2021 that are gonna really and fully explain how an EQ works. This is my vocal and it sounds like this without an EQ.
You are my strength, my strength. You are my strength, and you are my strength.
Now, this vocal right here needs EQing. If we leave it like this, the vocal is not gonna sound good due to unwanted frequencies or wanted frequencies which need a boosting or a little bit of a cutting, and that's where an EQ comes in. I'm gonna just turn on FabFilter Pro Q3. Remember, you can use any EQ that you have. Now, whenever you open up an EQ, you will see numbers ranging from 20 Hertz, 50 Hertz, 100 Hertz, all the way to 20,000 kilohertz. And these numbers are very important because once you know this, you're not just going to be boosting frequencies which are supposed to be cut, and you're not just going to be cutting frequencies which are supposed to be boosted. So today I'm going to explain all these numbers from 20 all the way to 20,000 K. So right now we're going to start with 20 Hertz frequency, very low to the ear and unwanted heavy frequency. This frequency is very heavy. If left just like that in your mix, it's really gonna mess up your mix. You may not detect it with your ears, but it's there. So let me just give you an example what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna boost it. I've just completely boosted it up, and then I have my solo button right here. So you guys, I'm gonna solo the vocal so that we can be able to try to listen to this frequency. So here we go. I can't even hear anything, and yet the frequency is there. So just because you can't hear it, then it's not gonna affect your mix or your vocals. No, just because you can't hear it doesn't mean it won't. It will if left just like that. The next frequency that I'm gonna be explaining is 25. So what you do is I'm gonna cut to 25 Hertz. So I'm just gonna do that, this, and then come to shape, low cut, give it a low cut, then I'm gonna give it this gentle low cut. So from 20 you start cutting from 20. So here we go, from 20 Hertz, then I'm gonna cut all the way to 25 is somewhere here, 25 Hertz. This is where you hear some rumblings, just a little bit of rumblings in the background, like people talking, and yet you can't get what they are talking about. This frequency is not good for big woofers. Always remember this, not good for woofers. For example, I'm gonna do this 20, 25. Yeah, so 25 is just gonna be boosted up like this. So let me boost it up. Then I'm gonna go to my solo button. Always go to your solo button so that you can be able to listen to what is going on in the background. So here we go. Yeah, just a little bit. When you pay much attention, you're able to hear some rumblings in the background, not very much, just very low. And so whenever you are doing a cut, make sure you do you cut all the way from 25, cut it to 50. So right now we are on 50, and I want you guys to look at what 50 does. This is where the bass is mixed with rumblings. For example, think of mud, water being mixed with mud. So this is where the bass is mixed with rumblings in the back, like people talking, and yet you can't really get what they are talking about. So I'm gonna lift this area so you guys can get to listen to what I'm talking about. So we are on 50 hertz right now, and this is how it sounds like. I'm gonna do my solo bud, and always listen to what is going on in the background so that you can be able to cut properly. So here we go. Let me even boost it a little bit more to the maximum. Here we go. And then this is how it sounds like when boosted just like that.
You are my strength, my strength. You are my strength. And
You may not hear it when the host vocal is like playing loud, but when you solo it, that's when you hear it. And then you can do a cut on this one, just a subtle cut, maybe -3 dB or 4 if it's too much, but I usually recommend -3 dB, and then you can do a cut from there. Then the next frequency that I want to explain to you guys is 55 hertz. So let us go to 55 hertz. This is where the bass frequency starts to clear a little bit for a good sounding bass. So whenever you want a good sounding bass, 55 starts to clear. Remember, I said starts to clear a little bit. So it's a little bit of a mixture with the mud of 50, mud of 20 hertz. So it starts to clear a little bit, and it sounds like this on 55. So 55, I'm just gonna maximize it. So I'm gonna solo my button so that you guys can get to listen to this. So it starts to clear a little bit, and this is how it sounds like with the song playing loud.
you are my strength, my strength.
And so I also advise, whenever you are doing this, whenever you are EQing, you also give this area a low cut. The 55 hertz area, cut it. The frequency is not that clear, it's still muddy. So the next frequency that we are going to right now is 100 hertz. 100 hertz, this is where you get a good low end. This is where you start getting a good low end, a good sounding low end. So if you want a good sounding low end, you can avoid cutting this area, or just cut it a little bit. This is how it sounds like. I'm gonna maximize it, then I'm gonna solo it so you guys can get a listen to this. So there is a little bit of mud and some good low end sounding much cleaner, though not very clean. So you can still low cut this area. And the next area that I want to show you is 150. So let us go to 150 right now. Let's see what 150 will do if we can low cut it or leave it the way it is. 150 is somewhere here. So what I'm gonna do is just boost it up. This is the area you boost a little. Remember, boost a little if you want a heavy and warmer vocal. If you want to have a heavy and warmer vocal, this is the area where you do the boosting, the area of 150 hertz. This is how it sounds like. I'm gonna solo it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop this so that I can play the vocal loud.
You are my strength, my strength. You are my strength.
So you just boost it a little bit so that you can have that warmer sound. See what happens when I overdo it?
You are my strength.
It starts to sound bad. So just give it a little bit of a boost.
You are my strength, my strength.
So this is whenever you want a warm vocal. If you're doing gospel worship songs, you can boost this area 150 hertz area. If you're doing, let's say, R&B, you can boost up 150 hertz area. Or if you want to do a modern day trap, hip hop, type, you can then cut it a little bit, or do your low cut up to 150 if that's what you're looking for. But if you want a warmer vocal, you start from 150. The next frequency that I want to show you guys is 200 hertz. This frequency right here, 200. So let us go to 200 hertz. And 200 hertz is mixed with 150 hertz. This is a mixture of 150 hertz with 200 hertz for a warmer and sharp low end. So whenever you're looking for a warmer and sharp low end, aim for 200 hertz area. Let me boost it up so you guys can listen to this. Solo it. The low end is a little bit sharper and mixed with 150 hertz area also. So you reduce it a little bit if you want to add that sharp low end to your vocal.
You are my strength, my strength. You are my strength.
So it sounds good with that sharp low end. The next frequency that I want to show you guys is 250 hertz area. So 250 is right here. 250. This is the area of the microphone peak, especially if you're too close. Cut a little. I advise that you cut this area. It's the area of the microphone peak, especially when like you are near like this. If you're near like that, you'll be able to get that, that frequency which sounds like this. Let me just boost it up to 50. Boost it like this.
You are my strength, my strength.
So this is like the near microphone recording. Like when you're near to the microphone, then you start recording. So I recommend you cut this area like this.
You are my strength, my strength. You are my strength.
So that nearness to the microphone can be avoided or can be removed. Yeah, so use 250 hertz area to get rid of those near microphone peaks. Then the next frequency that I wanna show you guys is 500 hertz. Let us go to 500 hertz. So right now we are on 500. So I'm just gonna boost 500 hertz, and I'm gonna solo it so you guys can check it out. This area is for mids. Let's say you want some mids, so this area is for mids. The sharp frequencies start here on 500 hertz. Those sharp frequencies, they start on 500 hertz. So if you want some sharp mids, the mids to be heard, then start from 500, and this is how this sounds like. Let me solo.
You are my strength, my strength. You are.
As you can listen, the mids have started coming out and a little bit sharper. So whenever you're looking for mids, you can boost it up, or you can, if you don't want too much mids, you can give it a low cut. You can cut just a little bit. So let me just reduce it to a normal range somewhere here.
You are my strength, my strength. You are.
So just that is good for your vocals. If you don't like that, you can still give it a 3 dB cut.
You are my strength, my strength.
Let's say you don't want those mids, you can cut from there. The next frequency that I want to show you guys from 500 is 550. So let us go to 500, 550, 550, 555, 550. Okay, all the same, it's okay. This is the area that sounds like your voice is in a can. Just a little bit, like the voice is in a can. Usually, if boosted, not good to the ears. That is 550. 550 is not good for ears. At least for my ears, it's not good. Sounds like this.
You are my strength, my strength.
So if you don't want that can effect, like you're singing in a Coca-Cola can or a Fanta can, you can cut this frequency a little bit like this.
You are my strength, my strength. You are my strength.
Yeah, just to remove that bottle can effect from your vocal. And the next frequency that I want to show you guys is a 1000 hertz frequency. So let us go to 1000 hertz frequency, and this is the frequency. Let me just boost it up so you guys can listen to this. Yeah, so I'm gonna solo this. So this 1000 hertz frequency, this is a high frequency used if you want your vocal to cut through. Let's say you want your vocal to like cut through the mix. This is the frequency you go for. The 1000 hertz frequency is picked more by high range speakers, especially if you want your high range speakers to really, if you want to know how far they can work with your vocals, use the 1000 hertz. Go for the 1000 hertz frequency. So if you want your vocals to be heard by people who are far whenever you're playing your music, make sure you go for the 1000 hertz frequency. This is gonna throw your vocal very far. Make sure you don't overdo it. Do not boost it too much. When reduced, the vocal smoothens and is better to the ears. So the 1000 hertz frequency is a little bit dangerous to the ears. At the same time, very good when it comes to high range speakers. Just make sure you don't overdo it. Don't over boost it. Just reduce it a little bit. And if, let's say, you don't want it, you just want smooth vocals, this is how it works. So let me just boost it up again.
You are my strength, my strength.
So whenever you want smooth vocals, this also works. Just reduce it like this.
You are my strength.
That is boosted. Reduce it like this.
You are my strength.
So it like works good for both. Like most times whenever I want a smooth vocal, I just come to a 1000 hertz frequency. This works for me. And whenever I just want a little bit of a high range, I do a boost, and that's what I go for. So it's all up to you if you want some high range, or if you just want to smoothen it up a little bit. This is a go-to frequency. The next frequency is 1500 hertz. Let me just go to 1500 hertz. So this is like 1500 hertz. If you want to open up your vocal and at the same time widen it up a little, this area is good. This area starts to add air to your vocals and excitement. I realize that whenever you want some excitement, you just come to 1500. Let me just boost it up, then I'm gonna solo it.
You are my strength, my strength.
So whenever you want to open up your vocal and add some excitement and air to your vocal, you can start boosting from 1500. This is how it sounds like when the vocal is playing.
You are my strength.
And then just reduce it a little bit. Don't overdo it. Just give it a 3 dB plus 6 or 3 dB.
You are my strength.
So this is before.
You are my strength.
Then I'm gonna raise it up, add more air, and widen. It just widens the vocal. So if you want to open up the vocal and just give that your vocal some widening effect, just come to 1500 hertz frequency.
You are my strength, my strength. You are my strength.
So this frequency adds some excitement, and basically this is how they make exciters, they just work around these frequencies. So whenever you want to excite your vocal a little bit, just use 1500 kilohertz and your vocals are gonna
You
sound
are my strength.
opened up, and then they're going to sound very good. But if you try to
You are my
bring it down, it's like the 1500 just closes up your vocal stops sounding good, all the harshness disappears, the excitement disappears, your vocal doesn't sound good like this.
You are my strength.
The vocal starts sounding down. So what I usually love to do is just to boost up this area. It also works well with the reverb. The reverb also opens up.
You are my strength.
Yeah, the next frequency that I want to show you guys is 2000 kilohertz frequency. 2000 kilohertz frequency. So we are in that range right now, and I want to show you something. Let me just boost it up. So the 2000 kilohertz frequency is can be used whenever you want to open up your vocal and add a sheen. This works well whenever you just want to add that sheen on top of your vocals. It really 2000 kilohertz frequency works well. Let me just solo it.
You are my strength.
This is what I'm talking about. Just adds that good sheen on top of your vocals.
You are my strength.
But don't boost it, don't over boost it, just a little bit, like 5 plus positive 5 dB
You are my strength.
before.
My strength. You are my strength. And you are my strength.
So adds air and a good sheen on top of the vocals. The next frequency that I want to show you guys is before I go to the next frequency, let me just cut it so you guys can see what happens. It's basically the opposite of adding sheen and removing sheen. So when you drop it down to -3, you remove the sheen.
You are my strength. My strength.
And of course has a little bit of that top warm end that you can add to your vocal. Very nice. The next frequency that I want to show you guys is 2500 frequency. So I'm just gonna go to 2500 frequency, then I'm gonna raise it up.
You are my strength.
So the 2500 kilohertz, this frequency begins to work well with speaker tweeters. If you have good tweeters in your car or in your house, the tweeters are really good, especially if you want to add a subtle mid-range tweeter-like effect to your tweeters. This 2500 kilohertz frequency works well for tweeters. Listen to this.
You are my strength. My strength. You are my strength.
So this really works well, but don't over boost it, just a little bit like this.
You are my strength. My strength. You are.
So this frequency works well with tweeters, and just basically when you want to open up your vocal as well. The next frequency that I want to show you guys is the 3000 hertz frequency. If you don't have saturation, especially if you don't have saturators, you want to saturate your vocal, add saturation to your vocal, but you don't have good saturation plugins, and EQ can do that. And how you can do that is to go to the 3000 kilohertz frequency. Let me go there, let me take you there. So we are on a 3000 kilohertz. This frequency is good if you don't have saturation plugins and you want to add some distortion to your vocal. This is the range you come to. Just raise it up a little bit and your vocals will sound good, but do not overdo it. So this is the range where you do saturation and add those harmonics to your vocals. Let me raise it up like that and then solo it.
You are my strength.
So basically, it's like an EQ has everything that you want. You just have to learn these frequencies. So this is the range where you add distortion and saturation. So I'm just gonna reduce it somewhere there.
You are my strength.
So I love the saturation, I love the distortion, I love what 3000 kilohertz has added to my vocal.
You are my strength. My strength.
And sounds even much better and fuller. The next frequency that I want to show you guys is the 5000 kilohertz frequency, this one right here, 5000. Yeah, 5000 kilohertz. And let me just raise it up. The 5000 kilohertz, if you're looking for let's say you're looking for a good sheen or top end, come here, come on the 5000 kilohertz frequency. This top end is good and also opens up your vocals by giving it some wider air. So whenever you're looking for wider air, just come to 5000 kilohertz frequency. This is how it sounds like. So Lord,
You are my strength. My strength.
just widens up the air. So whenever you want air to your vocals, come to 5000 kilohertz. Of course, don't overdo it. I'm just gonna put it here.
You are my strength. My strength.
Before,
You are my strength.
after.
You are my strength.
So the 5000 kilohertz frequency is very, very good whenever you want some top end air and just good sheen. 5000 works very well. The next frequency that I want to show you guys is 5500. So I'm gonna go to 5500. All right, right there, 5500 hertz. If you want a cutting through the tweeters high end, this is a place where you come to. If you just want your tweeters to cut through and just boost them up a little bit, 5500 is really good. Let me just do this.
You are my strength. My strength.
So if you want your tweeters to cut through, this area cuts through. I love this area. Also opens up the vocal a little bit. Yeah, very good. The next frequency that I want to show you guys is 6000 hertz frequency. So let me go to 6000 hertz frequency. If let's say you want a narrower top end, if you want it to be narrowed and reduced a little bit, narrower top end or sheen, this is where you boost a little. Works well with speaker tweeters. Let me solo it. A really narrowed, like the sound, the frequency reduces at the same time it's sharpened up. So this is where you come to and played with the vocal.
You are my strength.
Of course, I've got to reduce it a little bit.
You are my strength.
Just
You are my.
the top end just cuts through the tweeters. So I love this. The next frequency that I wanna show you guys, and of course if you don't like that, you can always do the opposite by reducing it.
You are my strength.
Then that cut through of the top end, the high end reduces a little bit. So the next frequency that I want to show you guys is the 10,000 kilohertz frequency, this one right here. 10,000. The 10,000 kilohertz frequency, this is a place only for tweeters. Like if you want tweeters to be heard, this is meant to give your vocals a high end and a top end excitement. So if you want a high end excitement, if you just want to excite your vocals, big time excitement, you come to 10,000 kilohertz frequency. It sounds like this. So Lord,
You.
and of course good air to it. So what I love to do is I just reduce it a little bit like that.
You are my strength. My strength.
So this is the go-to place whenever I want my car tweeters or house tweeters to really bring out that top end sheen and excitement, high-end excitement, I come to 10,000 kilohertz frequency. Then the next frequency that I want to show you before I go to the last one, I want to show you 10,500. Let me go to 10,500 kilohertz frequency. This is the place you boost if you want more air to your vocals. Let's say you want more air to your vocals like that, then you just boost it up. There is that high-end air to your vocals. So whenever you want your vocals more air, come to 10,500. Then the last frequency that I want to show you is 20,000 K, and this is how it sounds like. This is a go-to place when you want a very good high-end, especially modern day vocals. This is a place where they go to whenever they want that high-end top end sheen. This is where you go to. It sounds like this. Not much, but very nice. And played in together with the vocal.
You are my strength, my strength. You are my.
So this frequency is very good, and basically guys, this is how an EQ works. I hope this video helps you, and if it has helped you, leave it a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more great videos. I'll see you in the next one.